Hi everyone and welcome back to our next video about Path of Exile, and we are revisiting Freezing Pulse Self-Cast Elementalist with golems with a great amount of success so far. So I hit level 95 today and I just thought, okay, this is now at a place where I can share this with you. Again, I showed you the leveling setup with Elemental Overload, right? Our skill tree has changed a little bit. As you can see here there is a medium and a small cluster involved. And there's also an Aegis Aurora involved into this, as well as a new crafted spell crit chest. Right, those are the main points. Potentially the most important ones, right? This is how I managed to get from struggling with DPS to be quite comfy with DPS. Oh wait, that's a crit strike implicit. That's not okay. Never mind. And yeah, I had one goal, right? I wanted to get away from using Eldritch Battery. I no longer want my ES to be covering my mana. Yes, that made reservation a lot easier and cheaper as well, but this is so much defenses that we just gave up for that, right? For convenience. And I finally found a way to get enough mana regen on this build so we can rely comfortably on just our mana pool and our mana regen to deal with all of this. So that means we do need an enlightened support on level 3 though. But level 3 is not that bad, right? Level 3 is roughly ATC at this point of the league. Sure, it's a lot more in the beginning, but like that is something that we can work towards if we use this as a league starter in the future again, right? So yeah, otherwise we had to give up Purity of Elements. We want to use Zealotry right now. This gives us enough crit to where we will be crit capped once we have our power charges running. We're sitting at 85, as you can see, without them. But with all power charges running, we are comfy at 100% crit. Basically, we need 4 power charges. We do generate 5 at the moment with this tree, right? We have 3 regularly, then we have +1 here, and another +1 up here. So 5, and then as a bonus, we have this one which gives us 1 minimum. So this 1 minimum is really good because that gives us 8% mana regen, 8% crit chance, 5 crit multi out of the get-go, and then we get 4 times these again, right? And this also gives us 8% chance to gain a power charge on kill. So while mapping, while you are throwing down a frost bomb with cascade and power charge on crit, right? So everything that gets hit here has the potential to generate a power charge on crit, and when it gets killed as well. So yeah, you will be a lot of the time, you will see that you are at 5 power charges. So yeah, you're pretty much always crit capped, which is quite nice. Now, obviously the damage isn't as high like with the Trickster and stuff that we were running around. Even the Totem build has much bigger single target DPS. This is just fun, pure fun. I did do PoB stuff, and if everything goes right, all the buffs apply and stuff, we sit at 3.6 mil, which is definitely an upgrade to what we had before. And we are now much tankier, which is why I wanted to make use of the ES, right? We are sitting at 30,000 armor. So yeah, basically every time we block, we get 2% of that back, which comes out to like 600, 700 ES, depending on if flasks are running or not. If both flasks are running, like if all our armor flasks are up, we have almost 55,000 armor. 2% of that is like 1,000 ES back. Now, yes, how did I achieve that? So we invest in block up here. Mystic Bulwark, this gives us spell block and also a lot of mana regen, which is why we allocated this. We have another block wheel here, and then glancing blows. Without that, we don't reach block cap, right? We need this, sadly. That also means we take 65% of the damage that we block. But still, that's better than nothing. Yeah, basically better than having half the block, right? And yeah, the one mastery that we needed here was plus 1% chance to block attack damage per 5% chance to block on your shield. Now the Aegis comes with 32% block, so that's basically 5% additional block chance, right? And yeah, that's why most of these nodes are spell block, right? Not attack block. So that's really, really cool. And we have a lot of synergies here. Also, this mastery gives us 1% crit strike multi per 10 max ES on our shield. This Aegis has 299, so yeah. It could be 300, right? But yeah, this is one below max roll, so it doesn't matter too much. This is still a huge amount of crit, right? A huge amount. Like, yeah. Awesome. Really, really awesome. And you can see this nice ring here. This is a Thread of Hope with the passives in a very large ring. This is very important. It needs to be very large. And the minus 16 all rest, this is a variable stat, right? The closer you are to minus 10, the more expensive it is. The closer you are to minus 20, the more affordable it gets, right? But yeah, so I settled for like minus 16 all rest with the gear I have. This was doable. And what that allows us to do is get in Dreamer. Dreamer is not only a good chunk of increased mana regen, it also is 10% reduced mana cost of skills. And that just solves a lot of the mana issues that I was having. And yeah, I did unspec these two nodes, so we can have those two floating. And you could also, with this, right, you can go, not sacrifice, sorry, Insightfulness. This is also a node that we could spec into with this. So this is increased max energy shield, increased max mana. It's 10% reduced mana cost of skills while on full ES, which we are not always, obviously. So I didn't deem this too important with my level 95. I'd rather had Divine Shield in there, which feels great, by the way. This is a pretty good keystone. That's cool. And yeah, other than that, it's a crit strike chance base for a a medium cluster jewel. And I managed to get mana regen, max ES, and basics of pain, which is the important one. This is what I rolled for. This is increased damage and 30% crit chance. And then you have 30% crit chance with both of those as well. So this is insanely good, right? This is 60% increased critical strike chance, same as the Anoint, right? So very much worth it. And the small one was an armor jewel. I was lucky to get Dex on here and Fire Res. Remember, Fire Res is what we are giving up here with this mastery. We lose 30% Fire Res, but we gain +1 level of all cold skill champs, so very nice. And Militarism is just increased armor and % increased life. And this one gives me 11 dex and 2 fire res. So this could be a 3-point cluster, to be honest, and it's probably going to be better. You get even more armor, but that's what I had lying around. I crafted both of them myself, so I was really happy. Same goes for my spell crit chest. Crafted that one by myself, and I'm pretty happy with that as well. I did invest into a phasing jewel for my Stygian Vice with some dex int and crit multi, so that's pretty decent. And what else is there to say? Oh yeah, we do have a nice watchery as well. This is a Zealotry double stat, so we get 10% resistance penetration, which is very good for our DPS, and also we do have a chance to gain Arcane Surge, which gives us even more mana regen, especially during boss fights. This is very nice. Now you see the third here, the precision one. So you will gain flask charges when you deal a crit strike while affected by precision. I cannot fit precision at the moment, but maybe we will find like a merc that has this. Speaking of the merc, through the map you saw that I had like 5,000 energy shield. Why is that? Well,
move it along.
Yeah, I will move it along. Gosh, she is always so pushy. I started to gear this Merc recently. I'm still not finished, as you can see. I still need another ring, and I need to give her like a decent chess piece. For the moment, she is res capped, but not chaos capped. So yeah, I need a little bit. I need to work on this as well. But there we go. She gets discipline. Very cool. She also has frostbite, so I gave her one of the damning rings. I hope this works. If it doesn't, I need to do something a little bit differently. And I gave her 2 obliterations. So sometimes you can see these Oki explosions happening. This is what obliteration does, right? You gain fist damage as extra chaos damage. And then when you kill enemies, they have a 20% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their life, of their max life, as chaos damage. And we just have 2 of those. So yeah, very nice, very nice. I also gave her Shaper Seed, just so we get even more life and mana regen. This is insane. When she's nearby, we are set, right? Really, really cool. And then she just has the old gear. Yeah, so nothing too fancy, except her Eye of Winter has greater freeze chance, which is nice. Faster casting and other cold, but the big one is Brittle chance. 30% chance to inflict Brittle. So when a boss fight takes a little bit longer and you forget to cast your Frost Bomb and you're not on max power charges, this Brittle will basically push you over the line again once she inflicts it, because she can give you like 1.2% base crit chance, which is almost as good as the 1.37 I have here. You can see this goes from 1.1 to 1.5. I didn't want to risk divining this. I usually settle for 1.3. 1.3 is what I calculate with, and I will try to divine to at least 1.3. I got lucky here, got 1.37, and I was like, I'll settle on this. I do have a 1.51 in standard on my the first time I went with this build to endgame, or the second time, and back then divines were not used for anything else than just that, right? But now that we have the divines for our basic or like our most expensive currency instead of the exalted orbs, we need to be a little bit more careful. Although I have a couple of tries if I really wanted to. It's just not that needed at the moment. So yeah, that's the current state of the build. I'm really happy, especially as I said with the mana regen that we have, with the 17.2k. Wow, cool, good job, man. Or to that, we don't know. So yeah, this is a lot of experimental stuff, right? Again, I just wanted to make this build tankier. We had such problems with this in the past, where you would just get one clicked in maps a lot. Basically, every fist damage that came across you would just fall over and yeah, basically say -1 portal, let's go again. So this makes us way more tanky. I still think Aegis is actually one of the better choices here. I'm still experimenting in Path of Building with some influenced shields, right, where you get the percentage base of your ES. I think if I manage to figure out a way to go CI and get lots more energy shield than this, at some point it will be better to get a % of ES gained on block shield, to be honest. Yeah. But for the hybrid setup that we have with life and ES, I think Aegis with a decent amount in armor, I would say 30k is probably what I would want to have at least. It felt okay-ish on 20k, but like 20k was not the best experience. But I had Ghost Drive on by then, right? And I had like 7.5 or 8,000 ES. So that was a little bit different before I went crit, right? So yeah, crit solves our DPS problem for the most part. It's still on the lower DPS side, don't get me wrong. This is just a build for fun for me personally. It is my own baby, right? This is my first builds that I've ever managed to throw together by myself and get through tier 16 mapping with it. So that's just why I really love this. It's it's my baby, as I said. It's the first build that has ever cracked the code for the most part, but it's still unfinished after all this time, right? But as I said, I'm now at a point where I'm extremely happy with the tankiness, how the build feels while mapping, how the damage feels against bosses. The chain freezing of bosses is really, really an awesome sight to take in. I always really like that. And yeah, so I thought I would share the progress with you guys. That is it for today, though. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And as always, take care. Bye.